And for more on the story, we're joined now by Porter Bibb. He was the first publisher of Rolling Stone magazine and is now a senior investment banker at MediaTech Capital Partners that handles media companies. Porter, thanks so much for joining us. Let's start there with some of the issues that are touched on in Nathan's story. One, of course, this image issue. This is a network that has significant image problems. Can this help them overcome that?
Well, it's a step in the right direction, but you're right. The image that Al Jazeera projects, particularly on the conservative side, the right wing, which is a slight majority of media owners in this country, has been a barrier. And there is, in all likelihood, as Kathy Rasenberger mentioned early on, there's a high-quality content coming out of Al Jazeera, and what's going on in the Middle East with the Arab Spring and all of the turmoil, nobody else is really covering it anything like the way Al Jazeera is, and I think that the U.S. audience is going to have an increasing interest in knowing what's going on because the U.S. networks are simply not there.
Well, Porter, this is a network that has deep pockets, but I have to ask, is this a wise business decision? I mean, Current TV was struggling to find an audience as well.
Yeah, it's problematic. If you've got the deep pockets that Qatar has, the Emir of Qatar is the basic provider of financing for this venture, and his pockets are bottomless. The problem is that it is not necessarily a wise business decision. He could have spent $500 million instead of buying Current. He could have just paid a premium and got carriage on the major cable networks that he's seeking. Alternatively, he could have taken that $500 million and he could have bought the 23 local television stations in the major markets around the U.S. that the Tribune Company is now selling, and had the law would force the cable companies to carry over-the-air broadcast content, and he'd have tremendous coverage at the same value. There is no guarantee that just because he's bought Current that he's going to keep the 40 million households that Current is currently contracted to. Every one of these contracts with the cable operators entails a change of control clause that allows the cable system to drop the network. Well, Time Warner already said that they're dropping it. Tonight, Glenn Britt, the CEO of Time Warner, said he's going to reconsider because I think there's a lot of consumer pressure right now on the cable networks to let Al Jazeera at least have a chance.
Well, and I wanted to touch on that, Porter, because you're right. We're getting these reports that there may be some backpedaling. Do you think that's backdoor negotiations and suddenly Time Warner's, or is it the pressure coming from viewers, you think?
I think it's viewer pressure more than anything else. Time Warner made a statement today, a public statement, that they have an agreement to consider Al Jazeera, that they've had it on the table for quite some time. Al Jazeera countered and said there is no agreement. They don't know what they're talking about. But viewer pressure. See, the cable companies are losing subscribers. Collectively, they will lose 500,000 paying subscribers this year, and the under 35s are the never cable. They've never had any cable. They don't want it. And I think that the internet and streaming video is the future, and I'm really surprised. I mean, your network is very strong on the internet, and Al Jazeera has an opportunity there.
Well, Porter, we're going to have to cut it off there. I apologize, but thanks so much for joining us. It's a story we'll keep our eye on, and we'll, of course, be talking to you later as well.
It's a pleasure.